Good. Good evening, everybody. We'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please. Ms. Hunt.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Here.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Here.
Commissioner Butcher? And Mayor Combs.
Here. Now, Commissioner Trujillo will lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow your heads with me, please. Lord, I want to thank you for this wonderful evening, this wonderful weather you've been giving us and so forth. I want to also thank you for all the energy that's been created here locally. A lot of positive thoughts and prayers for our community, so forth, keeping this energy moving our small city forward. Even though the downturn in the economy has affected us in different ways, I've just been seeing a lot here lately where everybody's still excited and still trying to make good of the community and moving in a positive direction. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the city and symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
You may be seated. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. You all right there, Chief? Okay. All right, very good. Do we have a motion for the approval of the agenda submitted?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have a motion for the consideration of the regular meeting minutes of August 14th,
Yes, sir.
2017?
Make that motion.
We have a motion here. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Before we go on, I believe Commissioner Gandy is out of pocket today. Is that right, James?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So he'll be absent for this meeting today. We'll go into Commissioner and staff report, starting with Mr. Duncan.
Nothing to report today, sir.
Okay. He said that the last time. Okay. All right. Gary.
Nothing new, your mayor and commission to really report today, just working on stuff for the auditors right now. They'll be here in a little more than a month's time.
I know you're excited about that as well.
Excuse me, but if I may ask the city manager, is this the time to mention about the fixed asset list?
No, we'll address
Okay.
that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Joanna, Ms. Barrera.
Nothing to report, sir.
Ms. Suarez.
Nothing to report.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Sanchez.
I have nothing to report right now.
All right. Very good. Commissioner Butcher.
Well, I do have one thing. I've seen our pretty new storage out to the wastewater, and I was just wondering, how long have we had that constructed?
Actually, it just went up within the last 2.5 weeks. It was a budgeted item this year to put the equipment, get it out of the weather, and have that location right there.
That's a nice little storage. That's where we're storing our.
The loader, the backhoe, and the trailer unit and stuff like that, get it out in wind and weather.
Oh, okay. That's good. Thank you.
All right. Very good. And I just had a couple of things to mention. I did want to give James some direction. When I was in Clovis last week for the Municipal League Conference training, we had a class, and in the class it was put on by Tim Keller, who is the state auditor. And he brought up several points, some investigations that they just completed, and one of them, ironically enough, was Hobbs. And I didn't ask about it, somebody else in the room asked about it, but it was a violation of the conflict of interest policy. They didn't have one that was drawn up, enacted, and it apparently a conflict came up, and it wasn't addressed properly. Nothing more than that has been taken care of. But in coming back and speaking with James, I believe we're in probably the same type of situation. So I've directed him to enact policy regarding that, so we can take care of it, nip it at the bud before anything else takes place. We don't have an issue with it, just the fact that the auditor's office is looking at things just like that, so we're going to take care of that before it gets to us. If you don't mind taking care of that, James, I'd appreciate it. Also, I would ask that you keep the folks in the Houston area in your prayers. There's a lot of devastation down there, a lot of people that are lost their homes, vehicles and so forth, and even some of their lives. And I understand that it's not just bad enough that people are in that predicament, but they're selling water like about $42 a case. They're making a travesty of that situation, worse than it already is. So bad situation. So please keep those folks in your prayers, if you would, please. I'd appreciate it. Yes, and I believe Mona came in. Mona, would you care to report on the downtown throwdown that we had this week? Okay, either one of y'all, please. All right, very good. I attended the event. It was very, very well set up, I guess. It was hot, but it was very entertaining.
Mayor and Commissioners, we did have the downtown throwdown on Saturday. We had our weigh-ins on Friday night inside the theater, and the fights were held on Saturday. We had probably 400 in attendance. We did have 12 fights. Altogether, we made almost $6,000 off of the event, and we split that with the School of Hard Knocks. The theater and the School of Hard Knocks split it evenly to help them out. He helps to help pay for low-income kids to keep taking the classes and keep them busy. There was a few that dropped out, but we did have 12 fights. And we did love having you, and we hope to have a even bigger turnout next year.
Absolutely. How much overhead did you have?
We spent $5,000 off of lodger's tax.
Okay.
And we spent that for advertising and to help with swag bags for the fighters. But then we did have several sponsors that helped with materials for their bags, and the county donated the bleachers.
Oh, great.
So it turned out really well to be a group. You know, Mata helped a lot with Main Street, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How did the concession stand do?
In the theater, the concession made over $700.
Great.
And then we had 3 vendors on the street, and I know everybody had the Num Num ice cream all afternoon, and I think they did very well.
Great. All right, very good. Yes.
I did want to ask.
Come on, Mata, if you don't mind.
City Commissioners and Mayor Campos, the street, you know how the light was out? Everyone thought we did that on purpose. I know we didn't, but I think we should do it on purpose next time because it actually caused people to like stop and pay attention to downtown.
Oh.
And I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I can't tell you how many the vendors, David Soto told me that he had people that like stopped at the stoplight and saw that they were selling food and pulled over just to go get food. And they were like, he's like, y'all did that on purpose? And we were like, no, we didn't, but I'm glad it helped you. So,
Okay.
just,
All right.
Can't take credit for
It's
that.
happened. It's funny how that happened about the same time. You know? I'll tell you a funny deal. One of the fighters was a heavyweight fighter. I guess he showed up and he had a goatee and a full mustache. He looked pretty rough. He was so tough. He was beating up the street pole, the light poles on the side, just warming up. And so it was right before the fight. They made him shave. They said you cannot fight unless you're clean shaven. And so he had 5 minutes. They gave him 5 minutes, and I guess he got mad because he bloodied the other guy pretty bad after that. So it's pretty funny, kind of interesting. But rules say you got to be clean shaven, and I guess he didn't get that message. And speaking of the light, would you care to mention that? What the deal is with the light?
Actually, I just received a message probably about 2 hours ago that it was fixed.
Okay.
I didn't know that it was out on Friday, but DOT came down today and helped Bernardo with it, and they got it running again today. So
Okay. Very good.
exactly sure the cause of it. I know time to time with the old wiring, the relays inside and everything need to be reset and that's part of the new 82 project is actually they are going to put new wires and everything
Okay.
for the system.
Very good. Thank you, White. And that's all I had. Commissioner Trujillo, any words of wisdom from you?
No, not today.
Okay, all right. Chief.
Nothing to report, John.
All right. Chief.
Nothing to report.
All right, very good. James.
Yes, sir. Couple of things. One, just for transparency, Melinda has been actively searching for a youth DJ for the Friday night dances that we have at the youth center. Had no responses. My son was interested, and just to be completely transparent, he is performing those duties. He is being compensated as a contractor for the city. However, if there's anybody else who may be interested in doing that, they can have at it, but I know she's been seeking somebody to take that position. Also, of course, we started a new communication tool, lovingtoncares.org. We went active with that last Thursday. This is just another means for the community to solicit input, to provide input to the city. We still utilize, the phone, come in and stop by, talk to us, use our website contact form. We also have Facebook and Twitter. However, with this site in particular, you can select the department it needs to go to. If you don't know what department, we have an I don't know feature on there, but we also have an optional at this point to where you leave your contact information. Should an individual, the only way that we can find out who sent the email is if they actually leave their contact info with either a phone number or an email. We've received numerous responses. I would say probably only 4 of them actually left contact info. When it's forwarded to the department head, they have 24 hours to follow up with a response to that customer to let them know that it was received and what the initial plan of action is. It holds us accountable to make sure that citizens realize that when they do call us, we do take action on it, and this is just another tool that we utilize. In addition to that, Chaparral Park will be closed on Thursday. We have a cross-country meet out there on that afternoon, and as we have in the years past, we close the park as far as for vehicular traffic, just so that the runners can utilize the area without any interference. On September 14th, we will be shutting city offices down, but all the employees will be working. We're having a staff in service. We're going through some safety training. We're also going through some customer service training. A couple of different things that is being incorporated into a new employee orientation. So we'll all be in class that day. I know our emergency services personnel, they'll still be responding. However, everybody else will be at the youth center for this training. And also, we're excited to say, as a result of this in-service and the need for equipment, we're actually going to be offering movies at the park starting on September 14th. One of the things that the youth center was lacking was a means for media projection, such as a screen and a digital projector that can be used by different agencies and organizations. So when we were looking for a projector screen, the same equipment for the same identical price, it was about $4,000. We actually were able to get a portable inflatable screen. It's 19.5 feet wide, but we'll be having a movie out at Chaparral Park's amphitheater about 6:45. We're inviting everybody. We chose this movie because it is the week of 9/11, the 16th anniversary, so we kind of wanted to do something a little patriotic. So a patriotic film was Captain America. And yes, I love Marvel Comics, but we are encouraging everybody to come out there. We're going to try to arrange to have some vendors out there to see if they want to sell something, but it's a free movie. We'll start probably between 6:45 and 7, depending upon the weather. But we're hoping that this will become a monthly event. One question, or I guess one statement that I would like to make in regards to this program is that it is the goal of this program to avoid any conflicts with our Lee Theater. So we won't be showing simultaneous films in competition with the Lee Theater. We will schedule this accordingly, but we're going to take advantage of our nice weather that we have year round. I know this is a school night, but hopefully this will get kids back to bed at a reasonable hour. We have plans for some October-themed movies, but we're inviting the public to come out and join us.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be at the park, you say?
Yes, sir.
You said there are going to be some vendors?
We have, Mayor Commissioners, we haven't actually reached out to the vendors yet. We're going to leave that open to them. If they would like to bring a food truck to come out, that they can.
No beer, right?
No, sir.
And I was also going to say, now we are going to kind of heavily spray that park.
Yeah, Mayor and Commissioners, thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Butcher. Yes, we are actually spraying We've been spraying quite often. It all depends on the weather, but they've been spraying throughout town. They've been spraying around the park. I know that I've been running out there in the evenings, and I think it was last Tuesday I got my first mosquito bite. So.
It sounds good. I like the title. That's pretty clever, James.
It's not. I'm not taking credit for that.
Okay. I know you did a lot of work on this, and I appreciate that because I think it's going to be a hit. Any possibility we can look at doing it like on a Friday evening so the kids won't have to, rush home?
Oh,
because of the
theater,
the
yes, sir.
conflict. That's right. That's right.
Mayor Commissioners, it'd be a little bit easier in the summer because we have the rest of the week, but
Right.
we definitely do not want to compete with our theater.
Very good. I understand. I forgot about that. Sorry. Patrick, any words of wisdom from you?
Nothing to report, sir.
All right. Do you see any issues with the DJ being James's son?
No, I don't see an issue with it. I think making the council aware of that, since there were not any other persons that applied. I don't think that we'd have to pass him over just because of the situation with James. So I think we're good.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We'll move on to public comment. Anybody wishes to address the commission may do so at this time. You'll keep your comments to about 3 minutes. We'd appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Paula Van Cleve, and to be blunt, I am adamantly against a public bathroom on the courthouse square fronting Main Street. I understand the need for one, but as I was coming down Main Street, it's my understanding that because of grant money, it has to be on Main Street. There's a real nice area right in front of the library, and Troy Harris Center has 2 parking lots. If you're going to put a public bathroom anywhere, don't put it at the courthouse on Main Street, please. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And I've gotten a lot of feedback, just like you, regarding that. So it's not set in stone, forgive the pun, but we're definitely listening to you, okay? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Sandy Robinson, and hello to each of you, and thank you for all that you have done for our city, and with me in particularly. But I did want to say, I came here to speak in another way. I had talked with David and was concerned about some issues, and he asked me to bring it up, and in the meantime, I spoke with another one, and he has explained very detailed of what the courthouse squares, courthouse corner, what it's going to be. And he answered all of my questions, and I am very, well, not as adamantly concerned about it as I was, because I do want to protect our picture courthouse, the
the environment?
Decoration of it, not decoration, but doing your yard work and keeping it an attractive building and a place in the city that when people come and see it, we can admire the building. And I think that if this can be worked out with the county and the state and the city, that it can be an appropriate and a useful addition.
So, ma'am, let me clarify, make sure I understand. So you're not opposed to the bathroom?
No, I'm not really opposed to
Hey,
it
now,
if
you
it
were
can
initially.
be done the way that it was explained
Okay.
to me.
Okay. And James does have some, do you have that available?
Yes, sir.
James? You want to show that?
Sure.
Okay. He did prepare some information regarding that. Like I said, this hasn't been decided yet, so we're listening to you. We want some feedback from you. Yes, sir.
Do we have a say-so as commissioners, like, if we have an opposition to that? Because that's a county thing, isn't it?
Well, it's our plan. Go ahead, James.
Okay. If I may, okay, so this project is more than just about building a restroom. A restroom is just one amenity of the Central Plaza Phase 2 or the Washington Street Improvement Project. This is a City of Lovington project that we received. It's federal money through the Transportation Alternative Program. And the scope of work in that particular grant means that we have to build ADA accessible improvements, pedestrian improvements, as well as amenities on Washington Street between Main Street and Love Street. So this has been going through a design process. As you can see, this is, for instance, right now, that entire, well, I guess you would say the north side of Washington, it is not ADA accessible. So one of the components before we get to the restroom portion is you can see that additional pavers would be added in order to bring this intersection up to compliance with ADA. So this would actually be your northwest corner of Main and Washington. This is actually the second one is Love and Washington on the north side. Whenever you move over onto the south side, this is actually Main and Washington here. You can see that additional pavers will be added. And then, of course, this is the southern portion or the southeast corner of the intersection down at Love and Washington. So one of the things that, it was the Thursday before last, I believe it was the 18th, correct? The 18th, Wyatt attended the county commission meeting to talk to the county, because one of the components that we have, if you recall that particular area, is that we have the concrete slab with some planters down there and some railings surrounded by rose bushes. One of the concepts is to make this more publicly inviting, have some seating and some shade in that particular area. So what was presented to the county was, as a discussion item, no action had been taken, was to actually deed that particular corner of the square of the courthouse to the city of Lovington, so that we could make these improvements. And it was actually discussed. The features were incorporated into that, and there was really no action taken on that. So one of the aspects that was, I guess, focused on was the fact that it was just going to be a restroom project, and it's not that. So the restroom would actually be one of the most important aspects of this when we were discussing this with the designers, was that this restroom could not stick out like a sore thumb. It would need to match the style of the courthouse. It would have to be brick. It would have to be the same color. It would, I guess you would say it would be a restroom, but your first look, it wouldn't really appear to be a restroom. There's actually a large pergola that would be there. These right here are concrete benches and seating. In this particular area, there's actually, it's actually undeveloped, I'm sorry, this area here is undeveloped for future county improvements for statues. In addition to that, there would be large trees to help bring this in. There would also be ground shrubbery. But this is just one component of the overall plan. I know there are other locations that would be more desirable. If you recall, the original downtown master plan had that parking lot in between the Lister building and the Lee Theater set aside as a pocket park, which would be set up for, shaded areas to where you can go in and food vendors could set up, you could sit down and you can eat. But one of those features also included a public restroom. We can't use that parking lot for that feature anymore for two reasons. One, if we move the proposed restroom on this particular project outside of the scope, it'd be 100% locally funded, or we'd have to find another grant or party to pay for it. Number two is when we passed our resolution, I believe it was 2016-1, which was what the city was going to do in order to keep the judicial complex downtown, we had to dedicate that lot for public parking. So the two issues, it comes down to funding, but also we'd have to change some of those agreements that we have, or MOUs that we have with Lee County. But that's just kind of it. That, like I said, the restroom is not the only feature, because I happen to appreciate the downtown area. I know I personally like the architecture, but we wanted something more than like a restroom you see down at Avenue D Park or out at Chaparral. It would make sure it was tasteful. But this is preliminary. As a matter of fact, the design concepts were just sent over to NMDOT for their review. So as you had said, Mayor, nothing is set in stone.
Thank you, James.
Yes,
I appreciate that. And we're open to your suggestions, your concerns, or whatever the case is. That's what we're here for. So if you have a concern or a need to voice your opinion, please do. Feel free to call us. Okay. I'm open to discussion. Well, I think we all are, as a matter of fact. So, anything else, Commissioners? Anything you guys want to add?
I was just gonna say, so you're saying that the county is on board for this, or
No, I didn't say that. Do you have any idea there?
are they on board for
They haven't
it?
voted on it yet.
Yeah.
It was just
No
discussion.
action in there.
Yeah,
No
discussion
action or
item.
nothing? But I mean, just a talk going around, you know, that's how are we?
Right.
And if we move it, we won't get the funding for it.
Yes, sir.
Well, that-
If we took that out of the project, I mean, that would be, it would reduce the overall costs, and there would be the risk that we would have to turn some of that money back over to the feds. I'm not saying just build it because we have the money. However, yes, we can't move it to another location unless we did obligate local, 100% local funds, or we find some other grant, which, as you are aware, those are far and few between anymore.
We could always build everything but the bathroom as well, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, oh, yes, sir, definitely.
Okay.
If the bathroom component was taken out, one of the original concepts that was also in there was just more of the concrete outdoor seating to make that area just more shaded for your farmer's market activity, other downtown activities we would have.
All right. I think there is a need for a bathroom, maybe just not so close to the courthouse where it's not so, I guess you could say aesthetically affixed to that corner. So we'll listen to your concerns. Okay. All right. Thank you, James.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else for public comment at this time? Thank you both for addressing the commission. We appreciate that. All right. We'll go into action items now.
I make a motion, we consider resolution 2017-87, approval of block party permit, Praise Fest, September 16, 2017.
Second that.
We have a second. James.
Mayor, Commissioners, because this is located on Love and Main, the street classifications, this is just requesting temporary closure of the identified streets for the free outdoor concert on September 16th.
All right. You recommend approval, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, discussion by the board? All right. No alcohol, right?
Is this what they had last year, like last year at the courthouse? Like different bands playing?
Yes, sir.
That was good.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, I'll entertain the next motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to consider resolution 2017-88 CDB grant project amendment and obligations of funds.
Second that.
We have a second by Commissioner Sanchez, yes. All right, James.
Mayor, Commissioners, this resolution will make a budget adjustment for CDBG. Whenever the original project agreement was sent to New Mexico DFA, it only specified $50,000 total towards engineering fees. However, we're having the same company provide once the construction begins, the staking as well as testing is part of the requirements for this particular grant. So in order to reflect that funds are obligated, this resolution will make that budget adjustment of $29,997.78, which is being paid for through the gas tax. This is actually going to cause the construction of street and sidewalk improvements of West Jefferson between 13th and 17th, 2nd Street from Avenue D to Jackson Avenue, as well as Avenue H from 2nd to 5th Street.
Okay, all right, very good. Any questions?
No.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. I'll entertain the next motion, please.
I'll make a motion, we consider resolution 217-89, 2019-2023 ICIP.
I'll second that.
All right, James.
Mayor, Commissioners, this document will approve our ICIP Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan for the 2019 through 2023 fiscal years. We've had discussion in the previous two meetings. I know that the top 5 projects that are listed on the document that will be submitted for possible capital outlay appropriations include the same projects that we had last year. Finishing out the commercial street bypass, the Lovington Sports Complex. We also have our firing range, or I'm sorry, the industrial park planning and expansion, as well as an aerial apparatus for our fire department and the police department firing range. But you can see we have, I can't even remember how many projects total we have on there, but we do have every municipal street incorporated into this with the estimated construction costs as well. 195 different projects total.
Okay. All right, very good. All right, any questions about the commission?
Called the dream list.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have another motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We consider resolution 2017-90, award of bid on 7th and Polk Drainage Improvements Construction.
Second.
We have a second. James.
Mayor and Commissioners, this particular project will actually cause drainage improvements all the way from 6th Street up to 8th Street on West Polk. We opened bids on the 21st of this month at 10 a.m. We received bids from constructors and Ramirez and Sons. These results, the tabulation is included in your packet, which is available to the public. They are recommending, the engineer is recommending, the low bid is Constructors Inc., and they're recommending that we award that project for $177,627.45. And this is being funded through our special gas, or the gas tax, the local gas tax.
Any issues with those contractors at all, James, that you can recall, that we've ever had?
Mayor, actually, the last time we used constructors was when we redid the 9th Street from Polk to Dogwood.
Okay.
And the only issue we had with that particular project was that the utilities were much shallower than all of the city records had, so there was some extensive redesign and reconfiguration of that project.
All right.
And I'd like to point out one thing. One thing about Constructors Inc., I've never been happy with their work. It's always been delayed and so forth. I think, I mean, I approve what we're going to do right now, but I just hope they change my mind after this, because if they don't, I guarantee I'll never allow them to do construction work here in this city. I'll always vote no against it. They always find excuses why they. It's just like, for instance, that 9th Street thing. I heard more excuses on that than anything. It lasted a whole year, less than a half-mile length of construction. It lasted a whole year, and I've seen it happen in other areas. And I spoke with James openly about this. Is that I personally don't like them because the way they treated us. I think they put us last on the list. When they do, we're a small town. They do big construction. Put us last on the list, and that's the way they service us. That's the way I feel, because being here for 14 years, I've seen it. I've seen it again and again. And but I'll approve it tonight. But I hope they change my mind after this. That's all it is. Thank you.
Well, I actually didn't know you had those concerns, Commissioner, but I just asked because the lowest bid isn't always the best bid to go by. So I always want to ask that question. Is this the best contract we can use? So yeah, if you would, I mean, if it's approved, advise them that they are on notice regarding those issues that the Commissioner has brought up. If you would, please.
Yes, Mayor, Commissioners, one of the things that we incorporate into our contracts as well is if they don't meet the substantial and final completion deadlines, there is the ability for the city to enact liquidated damages, which is so many dollars per day.
What time frame are we looking on that project on Polk?
Well, Mayor and Commissioners, actually this project, since we're coming towards the tail end of our monsoon season, I want to get this started as soon as possible. I want to meet with, have the engineers and constructors, we meet here hopefully this week, have the contract and find a start date. The only question is the number of days for completion. But this is one of those that it appears to be a very relatively straightforward project. We don't have any utilities in the roadway this time. So this that's one of the things that we will iron out, and I will report back to commission at our next meeting as far as the estimated start and completion date on this one.
All right. And this is funded by local special gas tax?
Correct, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mayor Commissioners, that's the 3 cents for every gallon of fuel you buy within the city limits.
Okay. Well, David, let me ask you this. Do you feel strong enough where you want to change the award on this bid?
No, I feel that going with the lowest bid during this economic times right now would probably be the best bet to go with the lower bid. Just making it clear that I haven't been happy with the work before because of the time frame, mainly because of the time frame, and I hopefully they change my mind on this one.
All right, very good. Any other questions or concerns by the rest of the board?
I was gonna say the same thing you said, that sometimes the lowest bid is not the best bid.
Right. Okay. All right, I guess we'll give them another crack. Again, no pun intended. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have another motion?
I'd like to make a motion to consider resolution 2017-91, award of bid -17, 2019 award of bid -17th Street Phase 1 construction.
Second.
All right, we have a second. James.
Mayor Commissioners, this bid was also released and advertised. It was open on the 15th. It has been tabulated. This project, for the engineer's estimates, it actually did come in higher. Original project budget was $1.3 million. However, the low bid from Constructors Inc. was 1.6, with Ramirez and Sons coming in at 1.8 million. This will actually reconstruct 17th Street from Avenue D to West Jefferson. It is funded predominantly for capital improvement fund. This was one of the projects that we bond issued, and we managed to obtain $246,000 in state funds for this particular project.
This will help part of that was our objective, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good. Any other questions by the rest of the board? Seeing as there is none, we'll go to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. I'll entertain the next motion, please.
Make a motion. We consider resolution 17-91 public safety building.
Second.
We have a second. James.
Mayor Commissioners, this is a budget project for our general public safety building across the street. It's membrane style roof. It's outside of warranty. It does need to be replaced. We opened bids on August 14th. We received one response from All American Enterprises. They did include an alternate, which is to replace the roof with a TPO style that will actually go up the sidewalls and under the flashing and have within it a 20-year warranty. This project actually came in on budget.
Any other questions? Concerns? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have another motion for the next resolution?
I'd like to make a motion to table resolutions 2017-93, certification of fixed assets list to further notification of the board here.
Second that.
We have a second. Would you care to explain, James, where we're at, or Gary?
If I may, your Mayor and Commission, in the process of putting together our list for the auditors, I had a little bit of a staff turnover, but I've also discovered some things that I needed to add to the list at the last minute, and I didn't have time to finish the list. So that's really the primary reason.
Okay. And your recommendation is to table this motion at this time, is that correct?
Yes, sir, until the next commission meeting.
All right. Any other questions, comments by the board? All right. All in favor of tabling this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion is tabled. Do we have the next motion?
I make a motion, we consider resolution 217-94, certification of inventory as of June 30th, 2017.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All right, very good. Gary?
If I may, your mayor and commission, what this is our year-end, June 30th inventory list that all the departments have of their usable parts and stuff, like for us in finance, papers, pen, pencils, and ink. And we need to certify this every year for our auditors, and that's what we're bringing it to you for that, for your certification.
All right. And this is true and correct and complete list. Is that correct, Gary?
It
Is that what you're
is.
telling us?
And one of the positives is the auditors have already sent somebody else to inspect this before you approved it.
All right. All right. And what were the results of that inspection?
They only had one complaint, and that is that with our financial records, not being able to identify specific costs of a couple of items that were purchased years ago. So,
All right. Okay, very good. Any questions about the commission? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have the next motion?
Make a motion, we consider resolution 2017-95, approval to advertise ordinance to amend Title II, Division 5, Boards and Commissions, Chapter 2.90, Parks and Recreation Board.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Mr. Williams?
As requested, Mayor and Commissioners, we have prepared an ordinance that should pop up. Ordinance 554, I believe is what it is. Yes, and it amends our Parks and Rec Board makeup. And essentially the change that is made, this is available on, will be available on our website. There we go. It amends the composition and includes the language, one representative from each registered nonprofit sports league as selected by their respective boards. There'll be ex officio members, and that means that they are on the board but they have no vote. The reason why we chose that strategy is so we didn't run into quorum issues. In addition to that, we specified that the nonprofit has to be recognized by the Secretary of State of the State of New Mexico. We didn't identify the specific leagues because in the event that we do, which we've seen in the past, we may have two different softball leagues, two different football leagues, and this would eliminate having to go back in and amend the ordinance should we have these new ex officio members appointed. So what we will do is we will advertise if this is approved tonight and have this for final adoption by the City Commission at the September 25th meeting.
Very good. All right. Any question?
No, I think this is going to be a good input right here from the leagues and so forth. I think hopefully, like I said before on our last meeting, it's sometimes if you draw them in, you get better response than waiting for them to show up. And I think this will hopefully give them opportunity to be directly involved, make some changes, and help us make new considerations on how we adopt new things with our recs in our rec area. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? All right, seeing as there are none, we'll go to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have another motion?
I'd like to make a motion to consider resolution 2017, approval of memorandum of understanding between the city and the New Mexico Attorney General's Office for the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force.
Second.
We have a second. Chief Rodriguez.
What this is just a memorandum of understanding. It will provide mutual aid between us and the Attorney General's office. They will provide training and equipment for us to assist them with the investigation and apprehension of any internet crimes that's targeted towards the kids.
Chief, you mentioned equipment. What are we talking about there?
They'll basically send over their techs or forensics evaluators to assist us with the search warrants on issues like that.
All right. All right, very good. Okay. Any other questions by the commission? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have the next motion?
Make a motion we consider resolution 2017-97, award of water meter sale bid.
Second.
Who was the second? I'm sorry. Okay, Commissioner Sanchez. All right, very good. Who was that, James?
Actually, Wyatt.
Wyatt, I'm sorry.
Mayor and Commissioners, with the installation of all of our new radio read meters, we have needs to dispose of all the old meters they took out, which is ranging about 1,800 meters, 1 inch and 3/4. We went out for advertised for sealed bids and opened on August 24th. We had one individual with a bid of $6,000 to dispose of those meters, and that's what we received.
Is that a fair bid? Let me ask you that. Fair amount?
Yes, it's fair, roughly given around bid for how many meters that there is. And it's just a scrap value.
Okay, all right.
And will the sale of that go back into the general fund or
Yes, sir, that will go back into the utilities fund.
utilities fund?
All right, very good. Any other questions? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do we have another motion?
I'll make a motion, we consider accounts payable.
Second that.
All right, we have a second. Gary?
If I may, your mayor and commission, one of the questions that came up at our last meeting was regarding fuel purchase, P&D Petroleum, because we didn't identify which department that purchase was for. And doing a little research, I discovered that we paid 2 months worth of P&D fuel bills for our fire and ambulance department. So that's what it was. It was a $4,293 bill, and it was almost the same as the other bill for the same month. They spent about the same every month. That being said, our single largest payment for this current run is to the Waste Management Authority for our polycarts. And if you have any other questions, I'm available to answer them.
Gary, you say we paid for 2 months worth of P&D Petroleum, is that correct?
Yes, in that one situation related to the fire and ambulance bill, that particular department, for whatever reason, we paid 2 bills at the same time that month, or 2 separate months' bills at that.
Okay. So we didn't overpay, we just paid twice
Exactly.
on money we owed, is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. I can tell you a little further detail. P&D came back and gave us their check from the prior month and said, I will not accept it, for whatever reason. And then, well, it had to do with a credit that we'd taken for another department. And that created a little extra work for us in paying the bills the following month. But, so that is probably why 2 months were paid for fire in this particular run.
Okay. All right, very good.
For further detail, if you're interested, on the $44,000 that Ellen's library expense, I spoke with our library director, and she made it clear that that is an annual fee, and what it gives us are a multiple number of services, everything from training, maintenance on both software, hardware, and internet, and then also the software connection. It helps to pay for hardware for the library and helps to maintain all the workstations for people that come in. How's that for detail?
And the 2 charges for the polycarts, is that, how often do we pay that, Gary?
We actually pay that monthly, and I'm surprised that it was 2 charges in this, because normally both those fees would be charged combined together.
Okay.
It'd be $127,000 for a single payment, and I believe it has to do because of the timing of the year. We're doing year-end stuff, and so we had half of the bill ready at one time, and then paid it, and then the other half later.
All right, very good. And just to let the rest of my fellow commissioners know, I did request the revenue from the city jail. It is afforded to us as a governing body by state statute, correct, Patrick?
Yes.
Okay, and so it's available here, and you guys can have copies of it if you wish as well. Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, sir, unless you just want me to go down the list and give more information.
Sure, if you see something that we should be wary about.
I didn't see anything that was really cautious or unusual. One that kind of surprised me is on the first page, that $2,164 for ATCO International. I recently learned that that's really related to sanitation supplies for the wastewater treatment plant. Because when I saw that quickies on there, I thought, what are they doing for quickies? And apparently that's the name of some kind of sanitized wipes and things to help keep them clean.
Okay, all right, very good. Any other questions by the rest of the board? Commissioners? Commissioner Sanchez? You look very pensive over there.
I'm looking at that last one.
Okay.
It's a fire station number 2 for $8,957.60 for the architects. Is that for the new station they're going to build?
It does have to do with the new fire station, but I don't know, do you have a better answer for this, Terrence?
Yes, that was the final engineering, or one of the payments that we made to the engineering firm to finish the contract for the actual the design of the building.
So reimbursable.
So we actually are going to do it because we already paid the architect, right?
I hope so, yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions? Y'all ready to pay the bills?
I'm ready to pay.
Okay. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Do I have another motion?
I'll make a motion, we go into closed session pursuant to section 10-15-1 NMSA 1978, subsection H-7, regarding threatening or pending litigations. M. Ortega water rights protests, subsection H-8, regarding the purchase, acquisition, or disposition of real property of water rights, potential sale of city commercial property.
Second.
All right, roll call please, Anna.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher?
Yes.
And Mayor Kaufman?
Yes, we will now go into closed session. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we go back into regular sessions. The matters discussed in the closed session were limited only to those specified in the motion for closure and that no action was taken.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call, please, Mrs. Juarez.
Commissioner Butcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
And Mayor Campos?
Yes. We're now back in open session. Any other discussion or questions from the board?
Oh, I just have one, and it's directed to Ms. Melinda over there. I just want to know, how did the youth center turn out this summer? As far as funding or kid-wise, did we do really well? I was going to bring that up earlier, and just my mind was elsewhere.
We actually did very well this summer. We had about 100 plus kids sign up. We kept maybe 60, 70 there throughout the summer. We had 2 sessions, June and July, and we were pretty busy. Kids had fun. We had no major issues, and it was really a successful program.
That's pretty awesome, and they utilized the video sessions as was installed.
No, that was not in
Oh,
place yet, but we did utilize the gym, the kitchen area, the dance floor, the whole center was utilized at that point. We did serve lunches at lunchtime to the kids. That was provided by the Children, Youth, and Family, Inc. And so they did have lunch and snacks provided
That's
to them.
awesome, thank
Yes,
you.
it was. Our fall program is underway. It does have a slow start, so if everybody can just push it, and we can get that going and get the kids there after school. We have 2 sessions from 3:30 to 5:30, and also from 6 to 8.
Thank you.
Thank you, Belinda. All right, anybody else?
I got a question. I think I want to direct this to Chief James.
Yes, sir.
On the seniors, the McKibben Center.
Yes, sir.
I went to eat up there. I went about a couple of months ago, and I walked up in there to pay, and they said, "Are you a member?" I said, "No." "Well, you can't eat here." I said, "Really?" I said, "Why not?" "Well, you're not a member." I said, "I used to eat here before." I said, "When somebody else here, and the food was good." I said, "That's why I came." And they said, "Well, I'm sorry, you have to be a member." I said, "Okay." By the way, I said, "I'm a city commissioner, but I'll leave, I'll go ahead." And then they said, and I turned away to walk. "No, wait, come back, come back." I said, "No, that's okay." They said, no, come back, come back." I said, "No, I'll eat somewhere else." So I walked out and I haven't been back. So do you have to be a member to go eat up there?
The only requirement that I'm aware of, sir, is that you have to be a senior citizen.
I'm 74 years old. I guess I'm senior enough.
Point
So
taken.
I-
I'll check into
barely,
that, sir. I'll,
So I just wondered.
I will check into that, sir.
If I had to be a member to go eat, I mean.
right, no, I will check into that.
Okay.
You know who you spoke to?
Well, whoever was sitting there, some lady, and there was a man there, both of them.
Okay.
But that's okay. I mean, I don't want to make any trouble for them.
But
Well,
maybe
no.
this lack of training is what probably
But,
what you should look into.
but I won't go back.
Well, and one of the things that we should encourage, we want more people to go down there because we
Yeah.
actually get paid by the unit served.
Yes.
That's how that grant works. So if we get paid $4 per unit served, but and they set a maximum, if we don't hit those maximums, we lose that money. So we want to encourage membership down there, but I'll definitely check. I don't know that there's an actual. I'm not at that point in my life where I've considered becoming a member yet. Although my wife does swear sometimes I need to.
How old you gotta be?
Yeah, to
I
be.
believe it's 60.
60? Yeah.
Dang it, I still got like 15 more years. Dang it. You're almost there.
Yeah, almost, brother.
I can know somebody in 10 years if he needs some.
I'll be there in a few
Dang it.
months, so.
I would, since that's part of this, I would recommend training, James. I mean, I don't even know when's the last time they had any training, or we've never really gotten feedback on if they're just putting volunteers up front, what type of training are they, because this could be an ongoing problem for years, and it just finally come up. And I hate, just like you said, we're not hitting our numbers, that could be potentially a problem.
No, I'll definitely, if I recall, they typically use our senior citizen board as a volunteer pool, but I'll check, I'll visit with Norma tomorrow, and I'll let you know, I'll get back to you, and let you know.
Oh,
Yeah, did you get to eat?
you walked away mad and hungry, huh? Yeah, he was hungry, that's why he was mad. Went to McDonald's instead. All right, very good.
Reserved seating.
Anything else to discuss?
I better not.
Okay.